Welcome to Digital Dates, a groundbreaking series by CNW Business that taps into the latest trends in tech and security. Join Kamla Hamilton, Powerhouse Senior Product Manager for Security Solutions, as she shares insights to help your business stay secure in the digital age. Stay connected, stay protected, only on Digital Dates.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us again today. In this episode, we're going to be talking about future-proofing your business and the emerging threats. And with me today is my colleague, Kim Roper.
Hi everyone. Kamla, thank you so much for having me here today.
Wonderful.
So talking about future-proofing organizations, what would you say are some of the emerging threats that we're seeing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think when persons think of emerging threats, we always couple it with AI. As we know, AI is like this new paradigm, this new term that everyone is talking about. And in the cybersecurity space, with the presence of AI, it's just amplifying the bad actors, the persons that are actually delivering these cyber threats and these cyber breaches. It's amplifying the effort and amplifying the frequency with which they can deliver these threats. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is, we have the threats that are no longer just simply a single vector. And by that I mean like a ransomware attack. A ransomware attack before was just seeking to encrypt the data and make it inaccessible to you. But what we're seeing today with ransomware attacks is before they actually encrypt the data, they're taking that data outside of the network, basically placing it in a storage area and selling it. So that's the emerging threat now, because it's not just one way of them, disrupting the organization by making that data inaccessible, but now the potential for them to actually make it public for all and sundry is there. So I think those are the things that are amplifying the threats today.
That's quite interesting and a little bit scary. So what would you recommend to organizations to try and help them protect themselves against these new types of threats?
Great question. So I think the first thing is the technology that's being used as controls within organizations, we need to be utilizing AI-driven ones. So just in the same way that attackers are using these AI-driven methodologies, then for our defense, we need to use AI-driven technologies. A good example of that is moving your endpoint protection from the traditional antivirus to one that is AI-enabled, an EDR, an endpoint detection and response tool. The second thing is looking at the policies and procedures that the organization has. We tend to create these documents and they sit down and they gather dust and no one looks at them again. But the point is, or the fact is, cybersecurity is a cycle, and whatever you do today protects you from the landscape as it is today, but in a month's time, it could be ineffective because of the number of threats that are emerging and appearing on the landscape. So those are just two really basic ways in which organizations can future-proof themselves.
Okay, so I was gonna mention future-proofing your organization, but what I was also thinking about is how you can get your end users, your employees up to scratch and understanding, what is going on in the world.
Yeah, that's very, very important, right? Because as I said before, cybersecurity, three things: the technology, the processes, and the people, right? And the people in terms of the end user typically is the most vulnerable point. And so organizations need to ensure that they're training their users in cybersecurity, making them aware of the things that they should and shouldn't do, and setting up the necessary measures within the organization. So when someone detects something that's kind of spurious, they know who to contact, they know who to escalate it to, so it can prevent an eventual, cybersecurity disruption of the organization. So training your people is important.
Okay, so I think I understand now. So in order for an organization to protect themselves against threats or future-proof themselves against threats, they have to have AI-driven technologies. They have to ensure that their people are trained, and they have to be up to date with the emerging technologies that are out there today.
I mean, that's not a prescriptive or a wholesome approach, but those are some key things that organizations need to be taking into consideration and putting it actively into their daily operations. Once again, even though you may implement all of these things, it doesn't mean that an attack is not going to come towards the organization. It doesn't prevent attacks from occurring, but it increases the likelihood that one, you'll be able to detect and you'll be able to prevent these attacks. And this is key because security is not 100%. I really hope that you've gotten some really key points in terms of, emerging threats and future-proofing your business. I want to thank you once again for joining us for this session, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Stay connected, stay protected. Only on Digital Dates.